state your name and who you work for?
Robert Altman. I'm going to take this out of my ear.
Okay.
Robert Altman. I'm an independent software developer. I'm speaking on distributed version control, modern version control systems, in particular distributed version control systems. That's Mercurial and Git, and my focus is going to be Mercurial,
Okay.
because I'm more familiar with that.
Okay.
But the concept is, how are these tools different? What do they provide for us that the centralized systems don't provide? How do they serve our needs? And how to make a decision to pick the right tools to serve your needs instead of just doing what you've always done because you've always done it.
Okay. So what's so appealing to distributed, VCSs as compared to something like Subversion?
Many things. The first being speed and reliability. They're incredibly fast. All history is kept locally, and merging is much easier. They have more context. Beyond that, because everything is kept locally, you have the ability to do experimental work. You have the ability to work in different ways in different locations, and it opens up a way to craft a development environment, meaning team structure, QA, release, an entire development process and life cycle that mimics or supports what you need to do, as opposed to being run from a single point, single repository, which can often be a point of contention or conflict.
Right. Which kind of leads into the next question, because Microsoft released this thing called TFS, and when it first came out, people said, "Oh, it's much better than SourceSafe," which isn't saying much. But now it's at the point where there's Git, there's Mercurial, there's also Veracity, which SourceGear is making now. That's going to be a DVCS. Do you think TFS is now falling behind again, and they got to catch up to add this kind of flavor, so to speak?
To a degree, I think TFS really addresses a different problem. It does have a component that's version control, and that's Team Foundation version control.
Right.
But TFS itself is really a management tool and environment.
True.
It's much more about managing the development process and controlling and tracking the development process, and that's good for large corporations. Most large corporations don't trust their developers to work independently, so why are they going to trust them to work independently even more?
Right.
I think the real issue is going to become how to get the large companies to understand the benefits that these systems provide. If you've ever had to refactor or re-architect code is a better concept. You move around a lot of things, you maybe create different directories. There's a lot of work that goes on here. If you have to do that in Team Foundation server, people are going to be screaming at you as you say, "Don't use the server," or "We're doing an update." Well, all the lost time on that just magically disappears if you're using a distributed version control system, because you can do all of the repository work, all of the re-architecting, and then you can propose that. You can even show it to other people and say, "Here's what I was thinking of. I couldn't explain it, but now it's done.
Right.
And this is why it has the advantage." They might look at that and say, "Yeah, we need that. That's exactly what we wanted. I just didn't see it." So it's going to provide corporations and teams a different set of tools, a lot more flexibility to do the things they need to do, but it doesn't solve the problem of reporting up to the manager and their manager and so forth. And it does provide some confusion. History isn't entirely linear. So if two people make changes and merge them in one person's repository, you've got change 1, change 2, change 4, change 3. And the other person's, it's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
You have to get to the sophistication where you're capable of dealing with that, and that's certainly not an easy thing in a corporate environment.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.